Welcome, Mike Chillingworth, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Martin, Sandy, Karim, legend, and then Karim tagging in loads of, well, I know Miles Midland's an amazing guitar player, so come here to intimidate me, no doubt. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Robin, Kai, Amy, and so on. Mike, how are you doing? You were just giving me some rather grave news in the chat window there. Would you care to share that?
Let's not go into that. I mean, my car has had some bad news today. I'm sure you can probably, everyone who's owned a car can identify. But yeah, I'm a lot poorer than I was 24 hours ago. Let's just leave it at that. Gosh. So, yeah.
However, have you enriched the world with music?
I have actually. I've enriched my world. No one's heard. No one else has been enriched yet. But I've been recording my band for the last 2 days, which has been absolutely just such a treat. It's just
awesome.
You know, it's what we do it for, isn't it? You know, those times, they're so rare, but they're so great. And it's been amazing, and especially in the midst of everything that's been happening, it's been so amazing to spend a few days with great musicians making music, and you know, playing some music that I've been working on for a really long time, and finally getting it committed to you know, it's finally done. So I'm really excited. I haven't listened to any of it. I'm going to put it away now for a couple of weeks, and I'll come back to it later in September. But it was a really fun couple of days. So yeah,
awesome. Yeah, exciting. I think we'll probably talk about that a fair bit today. I'm very excited about it as well. But I was about to stop you mid spiel there, because you were like, yeah, this is what we do it for. And then I was thinking of, like, you know, studio time, particularly as a band leader, which you are in this case, is highly stressful because every minute is very expensive, right?
Yeah.
But it was positive for you.
Yeah, like, it's really, you know, the time's really precious, and there is a lot of pressure. And as a band leader, you're kind of sometimes having to be the one who's like, yeah, I know we're all having a really great time hanging out together, but should we get some work done now? And, you know, all that kind of stuff. But like, it's so good, you know, it's such a good thing to do. And like, I think just, especially right now, having not really been able to gig for 5 months, and, you know, had a few plays with people and stuff, but, you know, with the way everything's been, it was just, there was such a kind of relief to be able to hang out with great musicians again. And, you know, we had some good rehearsals beforehand and some bangs, and, you know, it felt really kind of, you know, rejuvenating to kind of be back doing that and not thinking about anything else for a bit of time, just getting back into the thick of it. So yeah, it felt really good. And yeah, I know what you mean. It can be stressful, but
well, you managed to focus on the important thing, which was the music.
I mean, yeah, that's it, man. I mean, it's the hardest thing, isn't it, when you're in the studio, because it's so easy to get hung up on the things that don't matter at all, which is like getting every single note of your composition to sound exactly the way you conceived it, and like making sure that all the musicians kind of nail their parts, you know, and that everyone's kind of, you know, just, you get everything clean, and that's not at all what it's about, you know. So you have to constantly remind yourself that that's not what it's about.
Yes,
but that's
so. For example, that music that we heard just there, I remember being really stressed out when we recorded that, but listening back now, I was just saying to you, man, this sounds really nice. You know, it's hearing it in that way, which is not under the microscope. I just want to say something really quickly to everyone. So this guy here, Mike Chillingworth, is an amazing sax player and reeds player and composer and band leader and so on. Basically, I moved to London like about 10 years ago to seek my fortune. And when I heard Mike play, I was like, wow, this guy is unbelievable. And since then, I've called him for every gig that I've got, pretty much, including like functions. I mean, I don't do too many of those corporate kind of things anymore, but we've done 1 or 2 of them over the years. But I want to share with everyone a little video, which is a peak Chillingworth moment, where I, as a band leader, I can count off a tune at a really fast tempo and then just be like, yeah, you solo now, it's too fast for me. Well, I wouldn't say it's too fast for me, I'd just say you solo now. But this is quite a legendary Chillaz moment, so I just want to play it for everyone. And Let me just cue up the video. This is going to be a little bit loose and lo-fi today, folks, so you have to bear with me. So share screen, bar Nigeria, and I need to go through to 16 minutes 30. Oops. Okay, here we go. You can hear me counting it off and we're laughing. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah, so that's Mike Chillingworth, everyone. MC Hillingworth. Sometimes they call him Mike Killingworth down here. In case any of you don't know the coded jazz terminology, killing means good in jazz speak. Maybe it doesn't even come from jazz speak. Anyway, so yes. All right, Mike, you've been in the studio for 2 days. Tell me a bit about this band that you're recording with. Tell us all.
So yeah, well, I borrowed your bass player and your piano player. So we've got Tom Farmer and Ivo Neem, and also John Scott on drums, who I've played with a lot over the years, and he played on my last record, and got a long-standing kind of relationship with him playing. So yeah, and it's a lot of music that I've been working on for about sort of 2 years. I think I started working on this music 2 summers ago, because I started it when I went away. I went away on a kind of, I do a lot of teaching, and we went on a kind of a trip with a bunch of teenagers to Germany, and we got stuck on we were kind of doing these long coach journeys across Europe, kind of 6 or 7 hours in a coach. And, if you're on a coach with kind of 50 teenagers, sometimes you have to find something to do to kind of distract yourself and give you take you away from your situation. So I was kind of like, I had my iPad with me, and I was like programming these polyrhythms into my iPad and putting my headphones in, and I was tapping out polyrhythms on my knees and on the coach to kind of give myself, I just thought I might as well do something productive. So I just kind of picked a random couple of polyrhythms, and I thought, okay, well, I've got all this time, so I'll see if I can really nail them and think about them lots of different ways, and sort of learn them from this side and from that side, and leave this bit out and leave that bit out, and see what they sound like at different tempos, and try and sing melodies with them, and think about different things that they suggest when you combine all the ingredients. This is all very boring and theoretical to non-musicians, but it's basically, I kind of stumbled on some things that really seem to kind of spark a lot of ideas compositionally, and I thought it would be really fun to actually, having been away for a week and pretty much got really deep into them while I was away, and I came back with them kind of ringing in my ears, in the way that these things can sometimes really get stuck in your brain, and you find yourself thinking about them at 4 a.m. and things like that, because they've dug themselves into your synapses. So yeah, just kind of, I thought, okay, well, I'll come home, I'll try putting them on the saxophone and try playing them on the piano and doing all these different things. And anyway, to kind of, the end result was I wrote a bunch of compositions based on these polyrhythms. And then I thought, well, I've got these compositions, I should probably put a band together. So I put a band together, and we did a few gigs kind of up until Christmas was the last one we did. And then obviously we had to stop for obvious reasons. But I've had this music on the go since back then, and I've kind of really wanted to document it, and I think it's something I'm really excited about. So
let's hear something.
Okay, yeah. So we've got a video of one. Just before you, I think, are you going to play this one's, is this the Coach Trip one you're about to
play? Let's play Coach Trip. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So this is actually called Coach Trip Special. I just want to say one thing about this before we play it. So it's called Coach Trip Special after the Coach Trip I mentioned. But I put this video out earlier on in the lockdown to raise some money for the Vortex Jazz Club. So anyone who is a fan of jazz knows about the Vortex, and the Vortex is an absolutely essential venue for jazz in the UK. It's just the center of the jazz world, the heart of the scene, and they are having a very, very hard time staying afloat in these difficult times. So they've been trying to raise money, and a lot of musicians have done things like this, like donating a track. So basically, if you enjoy this, I'm selling it on my Bandcamp page, and all of the money that I get from that is going to the Vortex. So I just want to plug that in case there's anybody with some change burning a hole in their pocket and they want to support a worthy cause. But anyway, yeah.
Great. So I'm just Googling going to Bandcamp. So it's Bandcamp. Bandcamp.com. Oh, I can't find you on there.
I'll post a link in the chat underneath.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll do that now. Yeah.
All right, great. But this is Coach Trip Special about that very Coach Trip. This is a video from Mike. So let me just get it.
This is not part of the recent album recording. This is a slightly more homebrew video that we did, but it's still, I hope you enjoy it.
Okay, off we go. That's amazing, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, good work. So is there a recording of that track that you did in the last couple of days?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I've got a few that are kind of sort of, I suppose, studies in this particular polyrhythmic thing, and that's one of them. So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, we recorded quite a lot of music, so we'll see what ends up on the final record, but it's great to have that one. We always have that version, even if the one we did, I don't know which ones are going to end up on there, but yeah, we did that one, and there's loads more where that came from, basically. So
awesome.
Stay tuned.
And we're going to hear another Mike Chillingworth composition in a little bit, but first let's just talk a little bit about when we met. Do you remember the time, like when we first met, Mike?
Yeah, so I think we met when I lived in Willesden Green, which I was thinking about. I drove past that house yesterday when I was on my way to the studio that I recorded. I drove past and went past my old bedroom window, brought back lots of memories. But yeah, so I used to live in this house with some other musicians, and this was probably back in about 2008, I would say. Does that sound about right? 2007 or 8?
Yeah.
And yeah, we used to have we had a sort of loft space above our flat, and it was kind of quite a good place for having plays. So we used to have a regular play there, Willesden Loft Sessions, organised by my housemate. And which makes it sound much more grand than it was, because I think the only person who ever turned up was Ant. But Ant was a fixture every single time, as reliable as clockwork, and super keen, and extremely just super up for it. So he kind of would turn up, and we'd be like, okay, well, I guess we're going to do that today then. We're going to have a play. And but it was great. It was really good to meet Ant, at that time. That was brilliant. I mean, I guess we didn't play together as in a band situation for a few years after that, but I think maybe like 2011 or something like that. 2010.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly the chronology of it, but definitely I heard you're playing around then. And then when I moved to London, it was quite hard to kind of borrow into the scene, because I guess you've got the music colleges where you guys have, some of you have spent 4 years, some even more, some less, but 4 years, let's say, or 3 years, just sort of bonding, hanging out, talking about music and all that growth. And then, so I moved down from Edinburgh, and I was like, hey guys, and like everyone, in London, the good thing and the hard thing about it is that there are loads of amazing musicians. I can name, like, without even thinking, I can name probably 20 guitarists that I really like, that I'm kind of scared of, in terms of how good they are. And the same for every instrument. So it's quite hard to kind of burrow into a scene. But eventually, no one was booking me as a sideman. So I thought, right, I'm going to start a band. And from the earliest iteration of the band, you were there. And we did some tours. I think the first one, we went to the Jazz Bar in Edinburgh and London.
Yeah.
That was the first tour.
You booked the biggest tours that I've ever been part of by a long way, like just absolute, just enormous, just kind of can't even describe. We did, I think there was 1 month where we did 25 gigs in a month or something. It was in the 20s.
That's proper, man. That's a rock band or whatever, isn't it?
It's serious, yeah.
A number of slight differences between the rock bands, but yeah.
But I mean, there were some great gigs. There was some great gigs, and some like less great gigs.
Well,
the music was always good, but the audiences were a mixed bag. But some great audiences, in the right. It's good you do those tours, because you learn which places are the ones that are worth coming back to. But,
yeah, you do, and I mean, it's a challenge to communicate with all the different audiences, and I see a lot of maybe slightly younger musicians at the moment getting really hyped in the press and starting to do lots of international gigs, and I just think, I hope they have the opportunity, if they want to do just more work, because a lot of people maybe get hyped by industry figures and so on before they've actually done any gigs. And honestly, like, I feel like now, for example, we played in like Hamburg just before lockdown. I feel kind of comfortable leading a band and improvising with you guys now, but I didn't back then when we were first starting to play, when we went up to, the Blue Lamp and Wakefield and Sheffield, really all over the British Isles and stuff. So I'm really grateful for that. Like, you know, I learned a lot. But
It's
yeah,
good that you feel comfortable now. I hope to achieve that state one day.
Well, you've just written a pad of extremely hard music, so you know you've made your bed. You know, Mike, do you want to tell us about this next piece, which is a favorite? I've heard you play this one before at the con.
Yeah. Okay. This is a really old. This is actually on my first record, which was actually a septet album. This composition was on that record. It's called Grateful Lady, and I was asked to do something during the lockdown this is actually for raising money for another cause. So both of these things are kind of got a bit of a charitable plug to make here. So there's a record that's out on Bandcamp, which is a massive compilation of music from kind of all kinds of different styles. There's classical music, rock music, techno, jazz, you know, the whole spectrum. And all these people have kind of donated their time to make lockdown sort of remote recordings of some people old music, some people have written new music. It's a huge album anyway, and it's there's some really interesting things on it. So it's called the organization that's put it out is called Musicians for Musicians, and it's raising money for Help Musicians UK, which is a charity who I've actually had support from in the past when I haven't been able to work for medical reasons, and they've supported a lot of musicians just at the moment through the lockdown and things like that. So
and they're about to support a lot more as well. They've announced a new batch of funding, I think a third round because basically all musicians now, barely anyone has any work, you know, unless you just did sessions. And even they shut down for a while.
Yeah. So I mean, they're an incredible organization, really. Like I wouldn't be still a professional musician if they hadn't come along just at the right time for me. So so the album's called I hope I say the right thing. Music on a theme of isolation. Let me just make sure I call it the right thing. But Many Voices on a Theme of Isolation is what it's called. I'll post a link to this as well if anyone's interested. So we recorded this remotely. There's a video that goes along with it. The videos I've just kind of thrown together just to have something to see, but we didn't make it as a video particularly. So the video, sorry if it's a bit too kind of lo-fi, but hopefully the music's good. So we did this remote recording. And so this is an old tune that was written for septet, and I've adapted it for my quartet to do this version, basically. So yeah, I'll post the link to that in the thing as well. I'll go for it.
Great. Ready?
Cool.
Short and very sweet. Love it.
Cool.
Very sweet. Those lots of tenths, very sort of, very sweet, almost saccharine. Mike, we've got a question. What kind of daily practice schedule do you keep, and has that changed to reflect different priorities? Do you want to have a go at that one?
Yes.
Thanks for the question, James.
Yeah, thanks. Daily practice for me is, I suppose it depends if I've got something really specific that I'm practicing for. So at the moment, obviously, I've just had this recording coming up, so it's been very focused on that. But a good practice routine for me is if I've got a few minutes to do some kind of long notes and warm-ups, overtones, all the things that help just kind of build a sound and make you feel comfortable with the instrument in your hands. I'm really into playing things really slowly. So like maybe putting the metronome on like crotchet equals 40 or something like that, and just playing really, really slow scales, really slow arpeggios, slow patterns, maybe playing like a bebop head really slowly or something like that, and just kind of concentrating on it's practicing relaxation is the way that I see it, as much as it is about practicing any particular notes or anything like that. It's just about getting your body to relax, finding a good posture where you're just kind of really comfortable with the instrument in your hands. And hopefully then when you play faster, you've learned that feeling of relaxation. So then suddenly you find that when you do play fast, everything flows more easily and you feel more confident and more comfortable. And then, so I would do that quite a lot. So I guess if I didn't have a particular kind of, piece to learn or something like that, a practice session for me might be kind of starting off like that, play some scales. Then I might pick a bebop head, say I play like Blues for Alice or something like that, Charlie Parker head. And I might play that at, say, like put the metronome on 60, play it like really slow in all 12 keys. And then I might put the metronome up to like 90 and then play it in all 12 keys. And then I might put the metronome on 120 and play it in all 12 keys. And then I might do something similar, improvising through it in all 12 keys. So like just really like slow motion improvising, and then gradually increase and work your way up till you're playing quite fast. But I don't really practice playing fast. I find that I practice playing slowly, then the playing fast just kind of happens on its own, so I don't particularly do that. But I practice a lot of patterns as well. I've never been a very methodical kind of person. I don't have like a practice book or a list of things that I want to do. I mean, I tend to just kind of, those are the things that I do when I guess those are the things I do when I feel uninspired. So if I don't quite know what to do, then that's what I do. But sometimes I'll just pick up my saxophone and I might just start playing, and then immediately I just find something that I can't play, and then I just practice that. So like if I might start improvising on a blues, and then I might try and play a pattern, or I might try and play a sort of diminished shape or something like that, and then I find I can't play it, and then you're like, okay, well that's my practice for today, then I'm going to nail that, and then so you just do that, and you take it through across the whole range of the horn, through all the keys, and I never really run out of things to practice because I don't have a plan. I just do things.
I get the opposite. I don't know where to start sometimes.
Yeah, I think the key is just to start, though, isn't it? It's just to like, you don't worry about it, because I mean, I don't know about you, but like I am acutely aware of my limitations every time I pick up my instrument. So it only takes a minute before I find something that I can't do. So you just have to you just can't, if you can't do it and you're trying to do it, that's because you don't know what you're going to improvise, do you? The things that you improvise kind of come from an instinctive place. So if you try and execute something while you're improvising and then you fail to execute it because it's not under your fingers, then those are the things you need to practice, because that's what your intuition is trying to tell you to play. So you need to develop your technique so that you can play it. I never
use improvisation in a way to find something that you cannot do, that the music was calling for you to do. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, the goal of as an improviser, the way I see it, is that you want to be able to, this is an unachievable goal that I don't think any human being will ever achieve, but the goal is to be able to play anything that you hear. So if you're like listening, you've got a rhythm section playing and you hear a phrase over the top of it, you want to be able to hear it. You don't want to have any technical barriers to what you can play. So your goal is to kind of achieve that technique so that you can express whatever it is that you're hearing inside your head.
Well, yeah, and if you reach that point where you can play everything in your head, then you need to try and be more imaginative and expand your imagination, I guess, you know.
That's true. But yeah, I've never come across, I've never had a day where I didn't know what to practice, because I was just it was immediately obvious to me what I couldn't do. So just focus on that.
Wicked. James, to have a go at answering your question, what kind of daily practice schedule do you keep? So at the moment, I've been quite haywire, but like what I always try to do is I think about where I want to get to, and there'll usually be a couple of different things that I need to work on. So one of the things might be quite short term, like for example, I do actually have a live stream duo gig coming up in a month. So I've got 3 tunes that I don't know very well that I have to practice for that. And I do this Pomodoro technique, which is like tomato timer technique, where you basically play for 25 minutes and then you have a break for 5 minutes. So let's say I was going to do 4 hours today, which I wasn't. I did half an hour, but I would do one of the tunes for 25 minutes, then another tune for 25, then another tune for 25. And if I want to work on maybe like some technical things, I might do alternate picking or something, or like Mike was saying, long tones. Then it might be like a particular chord type or set of arpeggios. You basically write out all the different things that you need to do and try and attack them all, because I find it's a slow sort of process of attrition. You have to do it every day a bit in order to see progress. So the hardest thing will be just working out where you want to get to and what you want to practice. Do you find that, Mike? You have to do a little and often?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I mean, if you don't play for a while, for me, if I don't play regularly, then it takes me, the first 2 weeks of practice are just me trying to get used to playing again and trying to get my brain into that place where you're kind of connected to your instrument and comfortable. As I say, I practice just being relaxed a lot, and that's related to that thing. It's just kind of being able to just focus on music and not just be thinking like, oh, I messed that thing up, or my fingers feel like sausages, or whatever. So like, yeah, that's where, for me, that's the practicing everyday thing is mostly to do with just keeping your kind of just keeping in shape, basically, so that you can actually concentrate on learning things rather than just on maintaining the basics. But yeah, I think what you said about doing little short bursts is really good as well. That's like something that I say to a lot of my students as well. Just kind of, it's not really spending like 2 hours doing one thing. It's not particularly helpful. But spending 2 hours doing 4 different things and then doing that 4 times, you learn a lot more. You keep cycling through different things. And every time you come back to something, you do it, you might do it for 10 minutes, then do something else for 10 minutes and then come back to it. But when you come back to it, you have to like reset, and you have to think about it all again, completely fresh. And your brain has to be fully engaged with what you're doing, because you have to sort of almost formulate the whole plan all again from the beginning. That's something I'm not going to get into this too much, but I've read, there's Simon Purcell I've seen has posted some really interesting studies about kind of educational, I don't know if it's educational psychology or what you'd call it, but the kind of people who study the way that we learn and the way our brains learn. That's a big area of progress at the moment, is just kind of seeing that we learn a lot better in doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and then coming back round rather than doing all of one thing. And actually, the more you repeat something, the less you learn it, because your brain just gets sort of conditioned to it and stops concentrating. Even if you think you're concentrating, you're not actually learning. But that's a rant I've had to all of my students in the last couple of months. Anyway, yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Well, yeah, just a quick thank you to the latecomers, Jay, Marco, Tim, Susie, Patricia. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate it. And I've just got one more video that I'm going to play us out. So yeah, where's the best place for people to keep up with you, Mike? It's you're in all the normal places, right? You got a website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the usual.
Yeah, all the usual. I'm not super active on Instagram, but I probably should get better at that. But yeah, Twitter and Facebook. I've got a Facebook page and all the usual. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Keep your eyes on Mike. Lots of exciting things happening in Mikeville, everyone. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. It's really nice to have some people here in real time and particularly asking questions. Thanks for that, James. Yeah, so this is one that went out on the BBC Three broadcast, the radio broadcast a couple of weeks ago. And it was Mike and I. It's a tune from the new album, Sleep Awakes, which you can get on Bandcamp. Obviously, I can't let, you know, a whole stream go by without plugging the album that Mike and I are on. But yeah, please do support the Vortex and buy that track of Mike's. And tomorrow Bandcamp are waiving their fee. So all the revenue generated goes directly to the artist. They've been doing this for a while. Lots of people don't like streaming services because, well, lots of artists, I should say, don't like streaming services because they kind of pretty much give everything away for free. And Bandcamp has always been this really, really great middle ground where you can listen to a track, but then you can buy it immediately. And I think Spotify is starting to adopt that now with the merch bar and stuff. But anyway, so Bandcamp is the one. They've been the goodies from the beginning. So please, you know, if you want to and you can afford to, you can buy like one tune or something. You know, you could buy Mike's tune and you can probably set how much you pay, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's there's a minimum, but if you feel free to pay more because it's all going to a good cause.
Yeah, I know everyone's like, you know, no one's got any money, so like, sorry everyone, but I have to say that. Basically, it's more like a long-term thing. If you ever buy music, get it from Bandcamp if you can. If you can get it from the artist directly, do that. If not, get it from Bandcamp. Anyway, all right, Mike, this is another tune that has a blazing saxophone solo and also a nice piano intro from Ivo. That's one of my favorite things about Ivo is you just go, Ivo, you want to play an intro to this? Like the next night, you'd be like, do you want to do an intro to this other one? And you just, make something out of nothing. So thank you for your time, Michael Chillingworth.
Pleasure.
Loving your work. See you very soon. Well, I hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, people. See you next week. Bye.
Cheers.